Welcome back to our exploration of how environmental factors affect the growth of our plants. We previously focused on the effect that sunlight would have on the growth of our lima beans, but in this video, we're going to switch it up a bit and we're going to explore a different variable. We're going to be looking at how water affects the growth of plants. On our journey, we're going to make two stops. The first is we're going to be formulating a hypothesis and we're going to be reviewing the procedure. And our second stop is reviewing the data collected and organizing that data in our data table. So we're going to approach our hypothesis development the same way we did previously. We're going to look at it from a cause and effect lens. So in this situation, the cause would be adding water, right? So if I add water to my plants, then, and now I'm going to let you guys go ahead and complete the effect portion of your graphic organizer where you will write down what do you think will happen to the height based on the cause. And then press play when you're done recording that. So at this point, you have your cause and you have your effect, or what you believe is going to be the effect. So now we're going to put everything together in the format of a formal hypothesis. If you look at your page, there's a box at the bottom, and I have already included the cause. So go ahead and complete the sentence with the effect or your hypothesized effect. So we'll have our formal hypothesis before moving on with this experiment. Now we will go over our visual procedure. And as I mentioned previously, for our first experimental setup, I'm a very visual person. So are many of my students, and I just love seeing what's going on, not just reading about it. So for step one, we're going to label two Ziploc bags as follows. One is going to have the label water plus sunlight, and the second will read no water plus sunlight. So one will be exposed to water and the other will not. Again, for step two, we're going to poke a few small holes on the top of each baggie with your pen or pencil. And for step three, we're going to dip two cotton balls in water, and we're only going to place them in the first bag, which requires water, but not the second because it does not require water. For step four, we will add lima beans to each baggie and we're going to seal them. For step five, we're going to tape bag one and bag two to a window or a place where they are exposed to light energy, such as under a sun lamp. So now it's time to collect our data, and just like we did with our other experiment, we can go two routes here. So if you have all the materials at home, you can go ahead and set your lab up and collect the data at different specified points. If you don't have any of these materials at home, it's perfectly fine. We have created some visual representations of what your data would look like if you would have set it up. So you would just look through the next few slides and you would just carefully observe the growth for the lima bean inside the bag that was exposed to water versus the bag that had no water. So as you can see, this is the data for day 4. We have some data for day 8, day 12, and day 16 at your disposal. So now that you have collected your data or you have viewed the visual representation of that data, you can go ahead and you can organize this data in a data table. So this data table has 3 columns. The first column, you're going to be writing the day. In your second column, you're going to be recording the height of your lima bean for the bag that had no water but had sunlight. And finally, in your third column, you will be recording the height of the lima bean that was placed inside the baggie that had both water and sunlight. So for example, for the fourth day, next to day, you will put the number 4. In the first column, you will gather data on the height of the lima bean that was placed inside the Ziploc with no water. And so based on this visual, we can see that there was no growth. So we will put 0 centimeters. Now for our lima bean in the baggie with water, we do see some roots, but we're still going to put 0 because we're going to be measuring the actual stem and we aren't able to see it fully yet. So we're just going to assume that for day 4, both are 0. So you're going to see that in the second column and in the third. All right, guys, at this point, I have gone over your hypothesis. I have helped you formulate it. I have gone over your visual procedure. I have shown you how to gather the data, and I have modeled how to enter it in or organize it in your data table. So at this point, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to allow you guys to complete the rest of your table. So good luck.